kind of begin.
I think so.
If we need any resolutions or what have you, we can push them off to the end.
Yep, we do have a quorum. Okay, let's start. You ready?
Wait a minute.
What?
Tom, what time did you get home last night?
2:15.
Was
My
that?
board meeting.
You're kidding.
What time did it end? 12:30, 12:40?
What's good entertainment?
Oh, 5 to
It's always good. It's
Have to
actually,
watch
we had the public hearing, yeah.
On what?
The first public hearing for the comprehensive master plan and zoning changes in zoning act. And like, my back hurts because I had to move the chairs in the jury box. And I kind of forget that I had like one of those problems. But yeah, we had, how many people, Sam? 70? Right? 70? And they all, many of them wanted to talk. And yeah, well, that portion ended like 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then we had, other segments.
All right, if you want, we want to begin.
Benny, in honor of your son graduating,
yeah,
you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
This is the Rye-Town Park Commission meeting dated June 19th.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Congratulations.
Commissioner Sach,
Here.
Commissioner Salanitro, Commissioner Feinstein,
Here.
Commissioner Pilla.
Here.
I know that Commissioner French is going to be here at 6:30, he claims, as is Supervisor Carvin, also going to be here at 6:30.
Great. Since we do have a quorum this evening, let's get to the first order of business, which is the approval of the minutes of the special meeting held on May 24th, 2012. Any questions or comments with respect to the minutes?
Well, Bishop, I wasn't here, so that's my question. It says present, and then it says Doug French, Mayor, and Catherine Parker for Doug French. Were they both there, or what was the story?
Just Catherine.
No, Catherine Parker was there representing Doug French.
Okay. So I wasn't, so maybe if you have a absent section, you should put my...
I will do so. Okay.
Any other comments to the minutes?
Nope.
With that change, I'll take a motion in a second to approve the minutes with that
Motion to
change.
approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Well, abstain, I guess, right? He wasn't there.
All right, you want to
You
abstain?
don't have to technically by law, but that's up to you.
Well, if I watched the videotape, I guess, but I didn't have a chance.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What you have now is you have your management report. I also, because of the fact we didn't have a quorum at the last meeting and we had a special meeting, I included the management report for the month of April as well, again, just for your information more than anything else.
Thank you.
Well, let's go to, we have comments from the public. Yes, Linda. I put my glasses on, I can really see what's out there.
Hi.
Hi, Linda, how are you?
Good, thank you. Good. Linda Wells, 27 Radcliffe Avenue, Friends of Rye-Town Park. Just a couple of quick updates on things. The new pond gate may be as early as next week. I'm waiting for confirmation from the ironworks. The production's all on the way. We're just waiting for one little part, and we will coordinate the installation with the park crew so that they know when the workers will be there, how long it will take, etc. So we'll let you know. They're also going to repair the small existing gate that's, if you're standing in front of the gazebo at the pond to the left of it, there's a little gate there that's falling apart, literally. The original hinges have come right off the support beam, so they're going to fix that as well, and that's at our expense. So they'll do both projects hand in hand next week, hopefully. We've also purchased a new rowboat for the pond maintenance use, and that we hope will be available this Thursday. We've coordinated pickup for our crew, and they'll be ready to go with oars, oarlocks, and they'll be in business. And the next thing was that we wanted to just discuss the duck feeding situation a little bit more. I have here a little mock-up of a more whimsical and formal sign about feeding the ducks that maybe would appeal to children and catch an eye for the children to read this. that says, basically, thank you for not feeding us bread or other people food. We prefer to eat the pond plants and natural nutrients in our habitat and learn how to gather our own food. If necessary, please use the feed from the vending machine instead of bread. The feed provides us with better nourishment and the pond with less pollution. And the thought is to mount this close to the vending machine where the feed will be to encourage people to go that route. The logistics of putting that together, though, is just something I wanted to talk about. So this is, I don't know if you can see this, but one of our board members is kind of marking the spot by standing there. This is the gazebo. If you were to stand in front of it, there's a secondary set of stairs that are next to the fence for the kids to stand on and feed the ducks. This is the second set, which is a little off to the right. We're proposing to remove the set that's in front of the gazebo, shift this set over one or two fence sections, and put the vending machine a little bit beyond where Ellen is standing, but close to the fence area. There's an existing post here, which we thought we might be able to use to post the sign inside the fence for people to read, but I understand that's reserved for art shows. So our secondary thought would be to mount the sign like almost eye level to children, if you will, on the fence. So it's there, it's visible, it's right near the stairs, and the machine is close by as well. So if that meets with your approval, we can move forward.
Can I see the sign again? Please.
And if you think verbiage needs to be changed, we're happy to do that. We went a little more whimsical and feel to it instead of
It looks cute.
don't.
Why do you have to move the steps? I missed that, I'm sorry.
Well, we'd like to just bring them over to the side a little bit more, so they're out of the way.
And that's just like moving a wood bench?
Yeah, they're movable.
Yeah, not concrete.
Right.
First I thought it was concrete.
No, they're wood steps, and you can just lift them.
Yeah.
And I think by eliminating one
Doesn't
set
cost
of
money,
them,
does
it'll
it?
minimize the duck feeding. No, we'll take care of that.
My only suggestion is to appeal for the kids. I know it's very technical. It says the feed provides us with better nourishment. And if you're appealing to kids, I don't know if they know healthy food.
Okay.
Because they're healthy snacks, healthy food, they have to bring, that's what they learn.
Yeah, that's.
And I just wonder if you use the word healthy as opposed to better nourishment,
Okay.
that it might just be something that they can associate with better than the word nourishment.
You're
Because
directing it to the parent,
If the parents.
providing nourishment.
Right, exactly. But it's because in elementary schools, I happen to know that's
Yeah.
what they do. They have healthy snacks, healthy snack day.
Okay.
At least that's what he's doing.
Okay.
What's
That's
down?
point well taken. Yeah.
Okay, just as a thought.
I have no strong feeling if you think.
But I think it's great. I think it really is.
It just
You're
gets
trying
the
to.
message out, and if
Well,
it's-
it's not like that. It's an educational process.
Right.
And I think this really does. This is education. Yes.
And it's a sell
Right.
by seed.
Right.
No, it's really.
It is, it's cute.
And that will be an outdoor plastic material.
And this will be the color too, which
Yeah, that's it.
is
And-
great.
And it's just like the little sign we put up when the pond was in ill repair 2 summers ago. We put up a police car on our appearance sign. It's the same material.
Great.
So it's not a big expensive thing, but it does the trick.
The two sections of fencing, that might be a little bit too much to remove, this one thing.
No, it's the stairs.
You okay?
The stairs.
You said two sections of fencing are going to be removed, did I
No,
misunderstand
we
that?
removed the a set of the stairs over.
Oh, okay, then the fencing.
Over by one or two sections of the
I
fence.
understand.
Just to
Okay.
remove
I didn't even
the-
think, no fences coming
No,
out.
fences,
Okay.
no, yeah, no.
Good.
Just to bring you up to date, Linda was showing us a sign to be near the pond.
Great.
And we were talking about,
That.
excuse me,
And
just we
where
were
would the
talking
sign-
about moving these stairs that are used for the children to step on as a platform, move that over one or two sections and put the sign on the fence at eye level to the children and the vending machine there also.
Excellent.
And then our thought too, but I'll ask your permission, I think for sure on this, is to remove the other set of steps that are over to the left or by the gazebo and limit it to just one set of steps. So, and strong feeling one way that.
You can always put them back, right?
Right, I think the intent is to minimize the feeding, so we're not but hoping to minimize a little bit.
You can always put it back, right?
Right.
We are changing generations upon generations of custom here. So it's going to be.
No, I mean, yeah, no, we're not.
Direct your
We're letting
camera.
them feed the ducks. I mean, it would be
That has
riot
changed.
if we said we couldn't feed the ducks. So, yeah, we've been down that road, but I think it's a good step for a lot of reasons. And we're investing a lot of money in the maintenance of this pond, and if we can't do enough on our end to keep it going, it's really money lost, you know, and nobody can afford to have these things.
Mr. Chair, does staff have any feelings one way or the other?
Good.
Yeah.
We can try to get the message diffused.
But I like the gentleness of it, especially because it is such a drastic change after so many years. And so I guess we're not going to be out there like screaming at people to say, don't feed bread to the ducks, you know, if they happen to do it. You know, that we're gently suggesting, we're encouraging them not to do it. Maybe in future years we'll,
And they still have something to feed them.
yeah, that's good.
And we're trying to, you know, eliminate the people that, you know, pour a bag load of hard rolls into the water, which happens a lot.
Well, there was never an option for them, so now they're giving them the option. So the first time they come, they'll see that there's a feeder there, a dispenser, and knowledge, and to be educated.
Yeah, because I never know. You go with the kids and you never know.
You want the kids to feed.
Yeah, exactly. I want the
But
kids to-
truthfully,
right.
but it's a good educational
Yeah.
opportunity to talk
Yeah.
about how to feed them properly.
So is that a go? Do I hear a go?
Well,
Okay. And the last thing I wanted to mention, you know, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it seems to me it's almost a year ago to the day that we were in this very room talking about dogs. And we had a very, I thought, productive, heartfelt meeting the last time we convened, talking about enforcing the leash law, posting a sign, getting the police on board, doing all of that. And I don't see that anything's going forward on that front. We're supposed to have a meeting. Catherine Parker suggested some kind of introduction to some of the more vocal dog owners who could pass the word about putting their dogs on the leash.
I dropped the ball on that. We were supposed to meet last Sunday and I couldn't make it, so I dropped the ball. We're going to try and get together this Friday or Saturday or Sunday with the dog owner. So I dropped the ball on the meeting. I think in interim though, we need to enforce. I think, did the police come down to the park yesterday, that year?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to enforce, but I dropped the ball. I dropped the ball in terms of getting that meeting going.
Was there an incident, or was it?
Yeah, there was an incident with security.
You got to go up. Well, we'll do when you
Yeah, when I
before we
get
talk
up.
about it.
Okay.
No, I hear you, Linda.
Okay.
Linda, I'm going to suggest that we have a sign that's like flippable under there where it says, please keep our park safe and clean. Please keep your dogs on the leash, or you flip it over, no dogs. And if you're nice, you're naughty.
I think that message has to get out. I mean, we talked about it at the last meeting, that if in fact there's so much abuse, that may be the next step. And I don't think we'd want to go that
Yeah,
way at
no,
all. No
absolutely
one
not.
does.
No.
In
No
fact,
one. That's
before we
not the
started, I
intent.
was going to say to reinforce the points you make, not having it removable, but just, I think it may be a good idea, please keep your park safe and clean, not to get this out of order, but please keep your dog on a leash. But if we're thinking of changing it, maybe you do open, close, vacancy, not.
Well, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Linda.
Thanks, Linda.
You have a great week.
You keep going, man. It was in honor of the 30th. We celebrated 30 years of Rye Brook last weekend.
And it was a wonderful
It
attendance.
was a
Yes,
wonderful.
it was
I think it was for some reason it seemed like
It
the
was.
best ever.
Actually,
I don't
it
know
was.
why.
We don't know why, but we publicized it. The weather was very cooperative, yes.
Well, you and I both took credit for the weather.
Absolutely. Certainly took credit for it. Yes, I'll share credit with you. All right, so we're up to, Fred, up to the management report.
I'll keep my report brief, because we have a couple of things lined up that might extend the meeting. As far as beach sales go, April 12th versus April 2011, we're up $12,646. In May 12 versus May 2011, we were up $17,884. And June 1st through the 18th of 2012, we took in $87,900. And June 1st 2011 versus June 18th, 2011, we took in 101. So we're basically down 13,000, which is, we are
Down
running.
13,000.
Excuse me?
Oh, Jim.
Yeah. We're basically running even with last year right now. And we have had a considerable number of rainy days and cloudy days. In working up the park management report, all of you should have a copy, which I sent out. I'm going to highlight a couple of areas. At the beginning of the month, we had 114 tons of sand brought in and delivered and spread throughout the beach. We also moved some sand from the north to the south to attempt to overcome these small pebbles and rocks that are on the south end of the beach. That's good work we did. We need more. The rocks came up to the top within days of after we put it in. But at least it's a step in the right direction. We installed new showers up north and in the tunnels, both sides, and they're working out very well. They're a push-button handle, which allows water to flow for approximately 2 minutes, and then it shuts itself off. And in my opinion, that's going to save us a lot of repair money where we used to repair the chains, because kids pull on them too much and they tend to break. We are now in the process of patching, repairing, and painting all the cracking around the parking lot wall and in front of the administration building on both sides. We've done one side, we're about to do the other side. Then we're going to repair and patch and paint all of the curbs throughout the front of the administration building. Moving along here, in parking, safety, and security, the Rangers reported that they handed out 123 written warnings to the people that aren't keeping their dogs on leashes. It's continuing to be a problem. Our security people are being very courteous and doing the best they can to retain themselves. We had a very abusive father and daughter situation on Sunday, which the security chief had ended up calling the Ride PD, and they were removed from the park. And even on the way out, they were cursing at Joe. Where they live? Rye.
Right.
Basically, they said, we live in Rye, we pay high taxes, we can do whatever we want in the park. That was the sum of it. And I have it in my, reports. But anyway, moving on again. Ragtown Park Commission approved a design concept, and then we sent around 2 versions of it, and the one that was most voted on was that one right there. And that seems to be, we'll wait for a final from you tonight. That seems to be ready to go to the printer and signed to be made up on the 4 major areas in the park that we're going to put them on.
Except for that something else.
Actually, it's not a bad idea. Bill's working with Lawn Chairs Productions for our summer As You Like It at Ragtown Park.
What did you do about nothing? That was last year, was that
Well, either way, Lawn Chair Productions will be held in the park, and it's a step forward. We've started a new workout.
When is the plate?
Friday, August 3rd, I think it is. First Friday in August.
In August. And our new workout is called Tango by the Beach, and they're getting a good response. There's 20 to 30 people attending each session on Thursday nights. Anybody looking to learn the tango, it's a small fee, and it's a new attraction in the park. senior staff has had 2 meetings. We meet once every other week to go over problems. And basically what happens is we have problems that rise to the surface. If the supervisor can't handle it, it comes to these meetings, and then the senior staff will make a decision based on each or whatever problem we have. And that is basically, that's it on my part.
Thank you.
Greg, can I ask one question, Joe?
Please,
Who's that?
Mayor Feist is running tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry. Old habits. There was a part in there about the car counting system not being up and running yet?
It's up and running.
It's up and running.
Well, the report said it wasn't, so I'm glad to hear that it is now.
Yeah.
It wasn't, for Memorial Day weekend it wasn't.
Okay.
But they were doing back-end reports, so it was being monitored, just not by us.
Yeah, they're being.
And then they caught up with us and sent us all the reports.
Yeah, so they're up and running, and they're assessing the system on a day-by-day basis, working with Terry and Bishop on cars in, cars out.
And how is it, and what's the data showing? As far as
The
the
data
car
showing-
counting and what we show?
Yeah. I don't have any
We're
conclusive.
close.
What
We're
percentage?
close, but there's a lot of variables, and we're trying to figure out the variables right
How old is it? How long have you had it?
now. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Great.
I'd say,
There's a problem with timing, we're trying to work on that. There's a problem with the cars coming in too close to one another, being double counted. It's not atrociously off.
You got a
It's
camera?
not something,
In the booth?
no,
No,
it's not something that, you know, is
No,
a
it's-
concern. We've learned a lot from it. We learned that we used to close parking early because it was slow. We now keep parking up until 9 o'clock. Because we know that there's volume coming in. So right now, we're using that as a learning tool. And we're trying to figure out what is constituting the small difference that we have. And a portion of it is golf carts that go in and out. So we're trying, and police cars that come in and out that the parking attendant doesn't see because the door's closed and they come in the out, you know, so, but we're real close. It's, you know, it's pretty amazing how close we are.
Can you circulate that for the next meeting?
the what, statistics?
Whatever the car counting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can certainly send a sample report to you so you see the kinds of things that we're getting. But we are still shaking it down because there are some inconsistencies that we're trying to resolve.
Madam Chair?
But, yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I had a nice offline conversation, actually, with Mr. Jaffe and Terry about the monthly performance and the way that the management team is able to, on bad days, basically, not to, this is changing topics from the car counter, by the way, but how management is able to reduce staffing. So they're saying that net, bad weather, people don't work, even if there aren't cars coming in, that we really shouldn't be suffering. So really, that means on a normal basis that unless you have like hurricanes and knock down trees and things like that.
What we're trying to
budget should
do
be
is
all right.
learn from the report, like say it's cloudy, and usually at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm the decision maker on whether we open. If it's cloudy, we're still opening parking because we learned that even if it's cloudy, we do get customers in, and it may be worth opening parking. So we're still working with the variables from what the report is showing us.
Yeah, we're experimenting with it.
Right.
Today was a difficult day because it started out cloudy and it didn't look like it was going to clear up. So we had staff in and we began releasing them around 11 o'clock. So finally at 12 o'clock we closed the beach down, but we kept the parking open because cars were coming in into the park. And
Think you broke even?
Then it cleared up.
Yeah.
No, we paid for our employees.
Yeah, not to micromanage. Tomorrow's going to be 97 degrees, right? So even if
For the next 5 days. For the next
Yeah.
5 days. We try to, we have an early morning conversation when it's iffy, Terry and I, and we try to use our best judgment. For instance, we had people on the beach today, so what I did was I told the lifeguard chief to send half of them home. So she kept 4 there, just for the people that were on the beach, and the rest went home. So yeah, we're really cutting that back, and I think we're ahead of the ball game right now. Bishop gave us a report that there were 2 departments that were a little higher than they should have been, than they were budgeted for, at the senior staff meeting, I explained it to them, and they began cutting back, so we're running.
So that's part of why you're 13 down? Because
Yeah.
what would you say, it was like net 13,000 that you're down, and not to manage your soccer or micromanage,
Basically,
but you run on autopilot.
from what Bishop is providing to us, as far as year-to-date salary, it looks like we're about $9,000
Under.
under from last year, and we're 13 under, so we're, we're pretty close.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah, it shows good budget.
4,000,
Yeah,
yeah.
it shows good budget.
There's a lot more going into the management of the park than there ever was,
Yeah.
ever. And a lot of it has to be attributed to Terry because she's interpreting the numbers very, very well, very accurately. So, again, staff rises to the occasion, when it's required.
Dan French.
Yeah, I would commend the staff and just say, it is a data-driven, exercise, but demand is predictable. So we will get to a point in time where we know a sunny day midweek is going to pull in about $15,000, whatever the number is, weekends on a sunny day. So we don't have to get too crazy with the metrics,
Yeah, yeah.
but I think there's enough data where you can probably predict, based on the weather, the type of revenue that we should be pulling in. Then we can manage the staff costs much better based on that.
Well,
that's the key.
that's already happened.
That's what we're trying to
That's
do.
already happened, because when we look at the cars coming in and the peak of when the cars are in, we made a decision, on the feet on the ground decision, to keep parking open till 9 o'clock, and it'll bring in a good $7,000-8,000 for the season, approximately. That's it.
So does that mean we won't run with the deficit? If we don't have to pay employees when there's not people coming to pay, right? No cost, no income, no expense.
As long as it's 95 degrees every single day
Yeah,
of
it would be
summer.
nice.
It's called just
No,
in
but
time
even if
on
it's
town
not,
park.
right,
That's
you-
But now that you
Yeah,
have
sure.
everyone here, maybe you can make a decision on this so we can get them up in order.
That's next up.
Well,
Fred, I just want to
yeah.
pass along a thank you. I got a phone call from a resident who was amazed at the responsiveness of your staff helping with their handicapped mom get onto the beach. Even before that they asked for any help, you guys were there. So pass it along. She thought it was very courteous of them, and she was very pleased with the staff. So I just will pass that along. We don't get a lot of attaboys, but when we do, I think it's good to pass it along.
It's nice to hear, and I will pass it along.
I just have one question. Have you had any problems with staff? Have you had to make any adjustments based upon your initial hiring?
We're about to do our first evaluation of the entire staff, and as of yet, we haven't let anybody go, but there were a couple of sit-downs already.
Yeah, we did
Yes,
one.
we did.
And one person.
Well, that was, you're talking about your situation, yeah.
They call that the shot heard around the world, right? The first person, you're like, holy crow, they got a gun and it's loaded, everybody falls into line.
And there's a couple that are sort of on probation for being late or not showing up. And so we sat them down, we talked to them, and now the next step would be we need to let them go, which is a very strong possibility. Because if we have a certain amount of parking kids coming in or security coming in, and we have a busy day, then we have to move maintenance over to cover parking, and if they're in the process of painting the whole front of the park, we lose a painting day. And that's very serious to us, constantly moving. But that's why we cross-train, to be able to adjust to that.
And you still keep two, I'm sorry.
That's right.
And you keep two people in the booth for parking?
We keep 2 people in the booth for a number of reasons.
I mean, but in the parking booth, yeah.
Yeah.
Not
If we
all
have-
the time.
Not all the time, but if we have to.
Definitely on the weekend, because if we have to immediately open the second side, they're there, plus brakes. South, I keep 1. North, I usually keep 2. It depends. I mean, the big thing is the wristbands. It's hard, when it gets busy to actually take in the money and put the wristband on someone. So I always have someone outside the booth putting the wristbands on as the other person is actually collecting the money.
Where are we with cameras in the booths? Not that
We
I
have all
distrust the
we have
employees.
cameras.
We have
Right?
cameras.
In
Yeah,
all
it's not
booths,
that I distrust the employees, I just want to make that
and
clear.
it's what we keep it on every day.
Yeah,
Well,
no, that's important, actually, especially if you have one person.
And they're aware that they're on.
Yes, it's a big eye on
It's too
it.
great a temptation.
Yeah, it's on in my office all day.
Yeah, and in my office and in Joe's office, and I think Bishop can even bring them up.
Ed, did you want to?
I was there
Yeah, it's
during
recorded.
the middle of the week, there were two guys in the booth coming in during the middle of the week.
I do.
And so she's wrong. With two people.
I do have to.
She said that.
Anything else, Fred?
That's it, Joe.
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
Just to go back to the dog situation. Is there any particular time of the day that the dogs tend to be off the leash more? I mean, is there, or is it just throughout
They're off
the
all day
day?
long.
Throughout
Throughout
the
the
day?
day, and evening,
Any evening?
and
And
evening.
evening too?
When I was left, there was a dog running around the park with me.
The reason I asked
And
the
I like it quite good.
the reason I asked the question, early in the morning, obviously, you're not going to have as many young children around. But certainly during the course of the day, in the middle of the day, you're going to have more children than you will, let's say, late at night, potentially.
You see, the people that are afraid to use the park don't normally write a letter or come to these meetings, but they always come into my office. So I hear the stories that they can't use the park because they're afraid of the dogs. I even have people with small dogs that come in and tell me that the big dogs are ruling the park and they're
There
afraid.
was, I have it at home somewhere, back in about February or March. There was actually a letter to the editor of the New York Times
Yeah,
about
I
this
saw
very
that.
issue.
I
About
saw
this
that.
very issue.
It's across the country.
It is, yeah. I mean, this is just not an issue that is isolated to Rhinetown Park at all.
What was the Times letter saying?
And basically was a,
Cross country.
cross country was
Problem,
basically saying
cross
there's a really a problem, that the park should be used for people, you know, because there's abuse. I think everyone understands that dogs should be allowed in parks as long as if they're on leash.
Yeah,
Well, maybe,
that's a good point, Mayor.
I don't want to, Mayor Feinstein, I don't want to embarrass Mayor Finch or Councilman Sach, but last time we discussed this, neither one of you guys were able to make the meeting for a number of reasons, but, and I, before you got here, Mayor Finch, I was supposed to follow up with Catherine Parker and meet with the dogs people, and I dropped the ball. We're going to meet with her this week. But my understanding why I'm meeting with the dogs people with the dogs is to find a longer-term solution, and let them know that the commission's open to a longer-term solution. If they propose a longer-term solution where they, you know, the way I envision, let them come up with a proposal where they have a segregated area that they manage and they pay, you know, fees for, and basically let them come up with a proposal for a solution. But in the meantime, you know, and again, the whole thing we talked about last night is reconciling the various interests, trying to accommodate what was paramount is safety. And what we can't have is a situation where dogs are off leash. And so we just, you know, one of the challenges in it is enforcement. And so even while the dog people may come up with a proposal, what we can't have is to have the situation of lawlessness. I don't want to exaggerate, but a situation where we don't have enforcement. I just want to know if you guys have any thoughts on that. Talk about some more. We talk about after.
There also was another addition to that. Catherine Parker said that now that she has a little dog, she's learned firsthand how difficult it can be with large dogs running around the park. So she's beginning to change her opinion about dogs running off leash.
Right.
And, you know, that's from a Rye City Council.
But the only thing I would say is, you know, I wasn't here for the last meeting, as you mentioned, and I haven't heard from Councilwoman Parker at all. I'll reach out to her and see what her point of view was. But from an enforcement point of view, and I think Mayor French can attest to this, you know, we have anything from violation of leaf blower law to demanding police at street corners when kids are crossing going to school to, you know, you name it. And so, you know, our police, which is, you know, we don't have a huge staffing level at this point, we're being pulled in 1,000 different directions. So, you know, dog off leash, take a number. I hate to say it. You know, not that I'm diminishing that at all, but, you know, we have so many things that are calling upon our resources. And so, you know, I would also say that since this is right now a policy of the Rhinetown Park Commission, I know we have in the past discussed Rhinetown Park funding the enforcement effort in that regard too, as far as perhaps hiring a dog enforcement officer or some sort. I can't remember the complete discussion, but, you know, if you talk about bringing more police hours and resources to the park for whatever reason, whether it be for dogs off leash or whether it be for, you know, 4th of July fireworks, you know, that's a cost to the city, and we have to allocate the resources that we have. So maybe that's something that the commission needs to revisit as well, which is how to, if enforcement is that important an issue to the commission, how does the commission fund that enforcement effort?
Look, I think that there's, I think enforcement is critical. And I think that, you know, and I think if we need to deputize our security staff and empower them, I think what we need to find is a solution that's beyond take a number. You know, there's no way I can get good guys to sit here and not have the law enforced.
Respectfully, and I don't mean this to suggest the accuracy of what you're saying, but Rice City shares the police radio with Portchester and Rosebrook, and I'm a geek, so I listen. And, you know, there's times when we're busy, even with Portchester, you know, we're talking about you got a lot going on. Portchester, we have a lot going on. But there's times when we're busy and there's times when we're not. And what we've tried to do in places like by the high school is just, you know, tell the patrol commander that, you know, direct your patrol there when you're in. Make a couple special passes around that sector. Hey, do me a favor, lend a hand. It's obvious to us that we're writing 123 warnings, and there's no consequence, right? So, you know, maybe we have to ratchet up, not where they're accosting people, but frankly, at the last meeting, we heard from people in the public saying that there's an unwritten Rice City policy, not whether you're busy or not, just don't go. And I don't know, I tell the cops in Portchester to enforce the law, right? So we just need to understand whether anybody is saying don't go, and I'm not suggesting you are, but that's what we heard, right?
I guess if I may just interject, I kind of side in this case. I understand what you're saying, Mayor Pilla, but I think I said the last time, I think the same thing that you said. The realism is the fact that the police in all of our jurisdictions are spread very thin. And to think that on a regular basis they're going to be at Rytown Park enforcing dog. I agree with what you said.
I don't even think they have to get out of the car to tell you this.
But what's going to happen is, even if they're once a day, it's not going to be a deterrent enough. And I guess I'm being cynical.
I don't disagree. They can't. It won't hurt.
It won't hurt, but it's the same way. It's the same way when you speed and you have a car parked on a particular street because people are going through a stop sign, and it's a deterrent. You can give out a couple of tickets, and they're not there a week later in the same behavior. And I guess maybe I'm cynical on this one. And I think one of the things that I think one of the things that we had discussed, I think it was the last meeting, was to maybe we have to deputize 1 or 2 people, not a whole staff. But because I think it's very difficult to ask for the resources of the police officers of the city on a consistent basis. I don't think it's going to happen. You know, it's not my jurisdiction, but I understand that our offices are spread very, very thin.
So, yeah, so I'll just kind of sum up. We have had several meetings with the dog user group, and it's really not the dog user group that is the problem. They're there in the morning. There's not many people in the park. They, you know, for the most part, comply with the law. If the police do get a complaint, they do show up. The problem is the complaints they were getting were really not thrust to public safety. It was people calling up, and the cops would go out last September. The police would go out, and, you know, it was early in the morning. Nobody's really in the park. So we've had meetings with the police commissioner about deputizing. And listen, it's problematic because you're now having somebody outside of the jurisdiction of the police commissioner writing tickets. We had talked about those tickets going to Rytown Court, and we went through that whole process. That's not a solution. So generally in the city of Rye, it's all about compliance. Now, if there are threats to public safety, absolutely we have to jump on that and deal with those situations. So I think it's another meeting with the police commissioner and the city manager to put together a program that's going to protect the people.
But it's very clear to me that our staff is being abused really in a way that's wholly
from the dog user group, you're saying?
From people, yeah, dog owners, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And there's no way we can sit here and understand. There's no way I'm prepared to sit here and have our staff abused. And I think our staff has shown enormous restraint. And, either we deputize them, we find a way for them to enforce, and I'm open to the suggestion that they enforce, or the Tri-City enforce. You can't, the problem, again, we're sort of repeating the discussion from last time, but look, at the end of the day, Portchester won't let a dog in the park. And what we heard last time is that, look, if the dog people continue to abuse, we're not going to let any dogs in the park. And so ultimately, and I apologize, I was supposed to go with Catherine to try and find a solution. But at the end of the day, if the staff is going to be abused, and you talk about the physical, dogs off leash, there's a chance that you can't anticipate that it happens so quickly. The reason we talked about this last time is because some woman's kid got attacked. And, the whole reason for the car park solution and compromise was safety as well as aesthetics, environmental. And I just think, this is a accident waiting to happen. And, if we take a lackadaisical view towards enforcement, the people who have been abused are only going to be encouraged. And I think that we need to find an enforcement and a solution where enforcement is effective and effective, and whether it be park personnel, that's fine, or and I appreciate all the police departments are overburdened. I think that's a fair comment. But what we can't have is the law flouted, and again. So Portchester, no dogs in the parks. I think Rybrook and Rye City, no dogs are allowed off leash there.
State law.
And the state law is no dog off leash. So all we're doing is enforcing the state law, and I don't know why. I think there's a concern that Rye-Town Park is being dumped on by the Rye City, and say, well, okay, let Rye-Town Park absorb all the legal risks and the safety risks and all that, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why Rye-Town Park would have a different, law than the rest of Rye City, the rest of Rye-Town, and the rest of New York State.
Mr. Chair, not to belabor the point, but two things real quick. Mayor French said something really important, I think, and that's discretion and the threat to public safety. So really, the meetings that you talk about, right, we really shouldn't over-engineer this, but we are talking about potential threats to public safety, right? So, our rangers should should have enough judgment that they can know when it rises to that level. And, you've said that they're going to come if it's a threat to public safety. That's what we need to hear, and that's the protocol that we need to get so that when we become aware, right, as the agent fiduciary of the park, that there's an imminent threat, a big dog on the loose or whatever, the kid running, like that image of my son when that dog was chasing him I told you about last time, right? They dial it, and you need to know that it may not be in 10 minutes, it may not be in 20 minutes, but they're going to show up. Now, if we're too busy, we're not going to show up. We're going to show up. And it's kind of like noise. There's discretion. We had Sam. How long did we talk about noise last night, right? And unless you get the decibel meter and things like that, which maybe you don't. I don't know. After the meeting, right? Not to belabor it, I bumped into former Mayor Otis, right? And I said to him, I said, "Geez, this dog situation seems to have gotten a lot worse. I'm trying to wonder, is there a solution?" And I'm not blaming. I'm not saying blame. I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "Dennis, the best solution in the years that I've been seeing it is to try to kill them with kindness." So, the whole arresting, we're not going to tackle them necessarily. But it's obvious that the warnings without, and as I said last night, nobody likes to see a cop.
Doesn't work. Chief Needle put forth the proposal that Westchester County that are over at Playland can actually come over and ticket. Now, that's an option. That it's within their jurisdiction because it's within the county. So they can come over and they can ticket.
Right, and that's why I think the enforcement has to be a meeting with the chief enforcement officer of the city. But Joe, my point is, the dog group, if they're abusing personnel, that's not acceptable. But I don't think it's the dog people that are as egregious as people later in the day that are coming and out-of-towners that are coming to the park. I think that's really the issue. And we have come to resolution with the dog people. For the most part, I think I'm pretty good. So